It is freaking cold down here. Ellie, you got the window open again. It's like you can't just go through the screen, you dork. Alright, we're gonna have to close up this window because it's time to get to work. And it is just too freaking cold. I'm Mike Dimas, and this is Pinball Shenanigans. Okay, let's just pick right up where I left off on the last video. This third flipper is rebuilt and ready to be installed. I need to potentially fill some holes in the playfield before I go ahead and do that. Also, last night I placed an order for 3 brand new black flipper bats, and I think it's gonna look awesome. So I'm gonna have to just wait till I get back from Yagpin and until I get those bats in the mail, and we'll see what they look like, but they have been ordered. Alright, I'll see if I can give you a little demonstration on my strategy for filling these holes. It's worked for me, so, you know, maybe it'll work for you too. You got different thicknesses. You got your toothpicks and your bamboo skewer size, and if you want to, you can get crazier. Actually, I think that's more bamboo skewer. So you got your different sizes. Add a little bit of lep glue, of course. Pop them in there, but this is my little trick. See if I can demo this one-handed. So I push the toothpick in all the way, and then I pull it out. Oh, this is a great demonstration, Michael. Pull it out before the glue sets. Just a tiny little bit. Then I'll snip it at the base. Now, you can probably just press it in, but hammer always helps. Just bam, like so. Look at that. That is as flush as you're going to get, and that will do the trick. Okay, there we go. Flipper number 3 is installed, soldered up, and solid as a rock. So time to move on to something else finally, which is nice. This is a whole nother flipper mech, but oh shit, that's gonna release a ball. Oh, where'd it go? Anyway, I ain't rebuilding that because it works perfectly fine. So we're gonna leave that. We may just leave the slingshots, and if that is the case, then what does that leave, boys and girls? What does that leave? Really leaves nothing but this. Dun dun dun! I don't know if I want to attempt that tonight. This, I don't know. I'm kind of curious / scared shitless. I haven't done really enough research to know what the F I'm doing. Not like I do much research normally, or know what I'm doing normally. Just kind of wing it. But it does look as though I could potentially remove this connector. How can I get this gearbox off? I need to access that screw. And I do want to, what's in here anyway? That's the plate that I have to clean. Is that, look at a little whammy there? Maybe a couple set screws here. That would help disassemble things. So I don't know that I'm going to tackle this tonight, but I did just make a post regarding this. Someone got a little excessive with the prop arm. Didn't notice that they were destroying the friggin' playfield and propped it right through. And it's like bowed. It's not flat. And I don't think I can just kind of like press that back down. I don't know, maybe I could smash it down with a hammer. So I made a post on Pinball Repair Help Group on Facebook. See if there's any suggestions. Someone earlier in this series suggested that Vid on Pinside, he's got all these guides, also known as Vid's guides, that he's gathered from him that one could water down some wood glue, kind of press it into these cracks, and then clamp things down and hope for the best. And that may very well be what I do. But before I just go ahead and do that, I want to just see if there's any other tips or tricks or strategies or suggestions or ideas before I just go ahead and all willy-nilly attempt this repair, because I'm probably only going to get one good crack at it. So I'd like to try and do it right the first time. So I'll wait and see if anybody responds with some good ideas. And in the meanwhile, Ellie, how's your inspecting going over there? Oh, apparently it's time for a break. All right, I think curiosity is going to get the best of me. I was just looking at this, and we got one connector here, one connector here, and boom. Wait, not boom. Another connector here. And then those set screws, and I can remove this thing. Except, so in Canada, we've got green Robertson. All right, it's a little guy. It's a small guy. Actually, let's start with yellow Robertson. That's the smallest. Well, who knows? There may be other sizes. We go yellow, then we go green, then we go red Robbie. These suckers are next level. Black Robbie. I don't even know if I have black Robertson. You know what? For some reason, there's another red Robbie. For some reason, just because that's what they're called doesn't mean that's the colors they come. I feel like I might have black Robbie that may not even be black. So even if I want, here we go. What is this? Way back in the corner. The black Robertson. Look at that. Okay. Oh, it's nice and long too, so makes for nice access. And look at that. We're in business. I may just take this thing off. All right, this is kind of a big deal, removing this monstrosity for the first time, so let's do it together. Someone has determined that if you use giant honkin' screws and precisely 3 of these washers, that's just enough to prevent the screws from growing through the playfield, so I'm glad they figured that out. So I've got 4 of these removed. We got 2 to go. I think I have those set screws loosened up enough that this should be free and clear once I remove these guys with my big black Robbie. So let's hope that that is the case. If I didn't loosen the set screws, then I I guess the whole thing would just come out, and that actually is not such a horrible idea. Maybe we want that. So here we go. Turret removal in the Stern Viper for the first time. Yeah, look at that. Oh my god. Holy shit. Oh my god. This is about the same size as Circus Voltaire, Ringmaster. You know how much drama he caused me. Anyway, I'm going to see if I can do anything with this. Let's throw it on the bench and have a closer look. All right. Let's start by seeing if I can slide this portion off of the bracket here. There's these long set screws. They're, I think, both probably added on. I don't know that they're original. I can spin this around. This one's Phillips. That's pretty loose. So in theory, this should slide off. Otherwise, I don't... Yep, it's starting to come. Hey, look at that. All right. We've got separation. So, mechanically, this is all very straightforward. There's nothing too crazy going on here. One solenoid, a bunch of target switches, and then we have this rollover switch here to let the turret know that the ball's in there. So this is a great opportunity to replace all the missing caps, come to think of it. Here, we got a cap here that's broken, missing cap, missing cap, missing cap, missing cap. So now's my opportunity to do that. We literally have one cap on this whole thing that's still intact. So I'll replace all of them. So let's make sure I remember to do that. And then just maybe clean up that plate. I'm pretty sure I tested all these switches. We know this switch works. We know this solenoid acting as a magnet works. We know the kicker works. So all in all, this is in good shape. Now, for the other part. I wonder what has been done to this. Okay, Jim at the Sanctum mentioned to me something about you gotta clean this or something to do with a burn. And this looks like what he's talking about right here. Something about burning the trace right through. And that might have been what happened here. So, will this come off? All right, check this out. Ooh, my God. Look how gunky that is. Whoa, how many years of gunk do you think that is? That is almost a good candidate for the ultrasonic cleaner, eh? I don't see any reason why I couldn't do that. Okay. And then you can really gain access to this thing. So it looks like there's a couple like little blisters. I don't know if those are, yeah, it's kind of like raised. Man, this thing is just filthy. I'm going to clean this up, evaluate what's going on over here. I don't know if these are repairs or just wounds, but maybe I will remove these 4 screws and take this thing right off. I think that's not a horrible idea. Maybe replace these rubbers, because those are potentially original. And then the motor. I don't know if I'm going to dare take that apart or not, but this is probably old oil that's leaked out of it, or grease. So it probably needs to be re-greased. So, I don't know, let's take these screws off. First of all, take a bunch of photos so that I can attach this thing or reassemble it without much difficulty. And I gotta wash my hands. I'll have a closer look at this gunk. And I'm kind of curious what is stuck behind here. Is that like part of the board, or is that like some M&M from like the 80s? What is that? Oh, it's an old capacitor. Wow. That's amazing. Okay, I just washed my hands, so I don't know why I'm getting them all dirty again, but it is kind of getting late. I'm so curious about this thing, though. So at the very least, maybe I'll remove this thing, and then I'll have to come back to this maybe tomorrow. But let's press our luck just a little bit further. Okay, I removed the LP from the bracket here. Here's what it looks like. If you play this on your record player, you might hear some fun tunes. So, looks like there's some damage, possibly. I don't know what these little warts are, if those are on purpose. I'm going to clean this up and have a closer look. But, yeah, I'll replace these guys. One of these screws is not like the others. Another screw just doesn't want to come out because these little standoffs in here, or spacers or whatever, that one's kind of just loose and doesn't want to come out. And I'm not going to force the issue because it may just break on me, so I'll leave those guys. I don't even know if I could find replacements if I wanted to. So, some W's on the back. What are all the W's all about? The manufacture of this piece? Interesting. Anyway, I'm sure you're going to have some nightmares thinking about this thing while I go to sleep tonight. But I'm going to wrap it up for now because it's getting late. I'm getting tired. Right, Ellie? Yeah, she agrees. Okay, it's been a couple days since I hit the old record button. Had a few minutes the other day, and I cleaned this gunk up off of this mech here. And yeah, so all these rivets, there's one on each ring. They're not damaged, which I kind of was wondering about initially. They match up to all these. You know what I should also do while I'm at it is reflow all of these headers. So I basically used a combination of, I can show you, brake cleaner. I bought it a long time ago because Corey Cook said this is great for cleaning greasy stuff. And rarely use it, but it did come in pretty handy. Worked pretty good. So I used a little bit of that. I think I used a little bit of Simple Green. I used a little bit of isopropyl alcoholic. Always got to have that in your stash. And I got it looking pretty good. And then Jim from the Sanctum said give it a light sand, which I did. And add some, I think, what is it called? Dielectric grease or electrically conductive grease. I have this super lube, but I don't know if it's conductive or whatever it is that I'm supposed to apply. I don't know that this is it. Jim recommended that I use the Steve Young from Pinball Resource specially formulated grease for all these type of. This is kind of electromechanical sort of stepper, really. This is more seen in electromechanical machines than solid state. So it is a special formula specifically for these kind of things. I hear commotion. and I might have to go, potentially, because Dutch is going to show up here and grab a half a flipper rebuild kit for the NBA Fast Break that they're working on. They only have half of a kit left, and I happen to have half of a kit, and they're matching kits. But, I don't know, maybe Jamie's just talking to the cat. Anyway, I need some lube. I don't have the right lube, I don't think. So I'm going to maybe see if Corey has some in stock. But this I also cleaned up. That was pretty filthy. I sanded the tips a little bit too, little contacts. I tried to somewhat straighten out all these guys so that they were similar height. The one guy on the end here was pretty bent in and twisted, so he was the one who needed the most addressing. But I think these two guys are good to go, except for lube and reflowing. I think what I will tackle while I have time tonight, I might open up this gearbox and remove the old grease and apply new grease. And I'm pretty sure I can use this for the gearbox, so I'm good there. And also, I think I will maybe even first, because it's kind of the easier of the tasks, is replace all of these capacitors on these switches. So that's what I'm going to do. I will report back shortly. Okay, I thought just to be prudent for documenting purposes for whoever may need to work on one of these mechs in the future, thought I would just briefly go over what Jim Sanctum was saying, just to make sure I get it right and I don't mislead anybody. So he says that this burn spot here is the stop position. When that contact goes off of there, it knows that it is home and stops there, and that's why you get arcing. That's why it's a little toasty in that area. And then I guess the product is called Steve Young contact grease that you want to apply on that. And I said, oh, I have some super lube, but he said make sure it's for electrical contacts. So I don't think the super lube is. And then he suggested that I take apart the gearbox, and he says, now I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's talking about. He said there's a friction ring that slides down the shaft of the center pin. A friction ring that slides down the shaft of the center pin. So I don't know if he's talking about inside the gearbox, because I don't have anything on here, so we'll have to delve into that and see. And he says that he had to slide it back up and tack it in place to stop it from going down every few hundred plays. So not really sure what he's talking about. Maybe it'll be obvious once I open up the gearbox, but that is some good insider information on how to try and bulletproof this mech. So open up the gearbox and see what we find in there. But yeah, he's just basically saying this has probably not been addressed in 40 plus years, and it's going to need some love. I'm curious though, that does not look original. It definitely looks like another black Robbie screw or red Robbie screw. So I don't know what's going on there, but there is a photo on the Internet Pinball database. Let's have a look at that. Well, this is what's going on the Internet Pinball database. Just compare that to this. Yeah, it does have the little Bakelite rectangular thing you can see here. So maybe whatever these are were removed at some point, and I don't know if those are rivets. Maybe they're rivets. Rivets. Like I said, rivets there, like a frog. Maybe they had to be drilled out to remove them. And that was just the solution. So all in all, though, doesn't look like anything. You know what? Oh, I'm seeing what's going on here. This was originally over here. Look at that. So there's the two holes. That was over there. So, for whatever reason, they moved it over to here. Okay, so I see what's going on there. I don't know if I'll move that back or not. I mean, as long as it's working. And what is all this, like, bubblegum stuff, though? See, like, this is like some Play-Doh feeling stuff. And there's the same over there. Is that some sort of heat resistant compound? And are these two varistors? I could look in the manual and find out, but anyway, I'm just kind of curious and exploring and figuring out what the heck is going on with this thing. So enough talking, let's act. But first, let's do these things. Hold on a minute, I just found something else. Look, there is some capacitor or something spinning across those two outer legs. Good eye there, Michael. Now, not sure what that is, but I'll have to check the schematics and add that to my list, because I'm sure I'm probably going to want to replace that. Okay, I was just looking at the schematic here. Not great with schematics, but pretty sure we got pin 1, pin 12 here. You trace them back. Right here is a 1 microfarad 250 volt capacitor. And so I think that's what I need. But got me thinking about this disaster of wires over here. Check this out. One microfarad, 250 volt. I mean, that actually looks like one Z5U. Wait a minute. Z, is this like in German or something? So did someone add this capacitor into the mix this way instead of directly on that board? Because whoever it did, whatever the heck this is, I mean, they knew what they were doing. There is a diode across a couple legs. So the question is, if I were to put on that capacitor, is that going to be kind of redundant and doing double duty? Should I remove it off here and put it where it's supposed to go? These are questions I don't know the answers to. What do we got here? We got this capacitor here as well. What is that? 0.05 100 volt cap. And then we've got this giant guy here, and I remember looking him up, and he's original. He's supposed to be there. That is the fuse. Original. That is the relay. Original. All that, not so much. But somewhere in here, see, this is the fuse. 4/10 amp slow blow. These are the two which I think are varistors. It goes to the flipper, and the flipper has 2 capacitors on it, 68 microfarad, 250 volt. That is these guys. Let's see if I can confirm. Looks good. Come on, focus for me. Yep, look at that. Okay, so that's what those are. And where is that giant capacitor? It's 1 microfarad, 250 volt cap there. Where is that? Playfield jack. So that's the relay. Okay, so there's all the wire colors. Each of those has to go to one of these rings, basically. And then they carry on in there. So it's called a Playfield jack, not a relay. Interesting. So what the heck were they doing? Did this not work? I mean, there's another diode here too. Did this stop working? So they just... It does look like a relay, doesn't it? It is a relay. And then, why? I need someone who is an astrophysicist to explain this to me. And that isn't even looking all that healthy right there. It's kind of like peeling up out. So anyway, I'm just more like thinking out loud and exploring. I don't really know what I'm doing here, but I'm just gonna fumble my way through it as I normally do. Okay, so I accomplished the capacitor mission here. These guys are garbage, and I've got these new guys installed on every switch. I made sure to tighten up all of my screws. A couple were a little bit loose, and also the fish paper on a couple of them was a little askew. So for those, I was able to loosen the screws and straighten them out, just because you want to make sure that that back switch is not touching metal. That's what the fish paper is for. And a couple of them were just out of whack. Fortunately, it was an easy fix. I went through with my Dremel wire brush and cleaned all the switch contacts. And that is basically it. I tried to tighten most of these screws as well, but in order to really get at that, I mean, I guess I can get a little wrench on there, but I would have to remove this because, as you can see, it's not very accessible as it is. So I tightened up what I could going through the hole, and none of them really feel loose anymore, so I think we're good. So, you know, maybe I'll clean the bottom here a little bit, just get rid of that dust, and maybe in this hole a little bit. And then that's basically it for this portion of the turret. Alright, let's take a little break and see what we got here. I've got a video from fellow Shenanigander Chris McKinley. I sent him a box, and I'm guessing it is an unboxing video. Let's see what we got here. I have no idea. I haven't looked at this. I haven't screened it. I haven't nothing. We're going live. Let's see what we got here. Oh, it's a minute long. Okay. Minute and 26. This is the box I sent him. Oh, he's covering up the address. Good boy. Oh, let's get some volume here.
Mike Diamonds, but this is Pinball Shenanigans.
Yeah, okay, wait, hold on. Let's start that over.
Yeah, we're good.
We're not Mike Diamonds, but this is Pinball Shenanigans.
Lots of shenanigans.
An unboxing, if you will.
Nice.
Apparently we've moved to Canada. We got a big pin.
That's right, eh?
Yeg pin.
Yeg.
Sticker. We're going to class it up with the Canadian flag. A. 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 Nice.
Hey?
Old Dutch ketchup chips.
Yeah. You gotta give those a try. very Canadian.
Sure.
Probably delicious.
London, Ontario Pinball League mug. Nice.
That's vintage.
Mike, you're crazy, man.
I can't believe that arrived
All
intact.
this because we sent him a Circus Voltaire.
Your book?
Oh, this is what he got for the
Oh,
Circus
Circus
Voltaire.
Voltaire.
That's where
Yeah, the menagerie.
Pineapple Shenanigans came from, so he's got one of those.
De Resistance.
I wonder what character he's gonna get.
Kevin Graisley.
Look at that.
A beautifully fixed CV part.
Gorgeous.
Like new.
Mr. Dimas and Mr. Graisley, thank you. And Todd, thanks you too.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So,
You guys
Behind the camera.
are very, very welcome. I think that's it.
Styrofoam peanut.
You threw,
Yeah.
Canadian delicacy, right?
Yes. So, thanks a lot, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Yes? What can I help you with? Everything's fine and dandy down here. Oh, don't fall into the washing machine. Alright. You have a look, make sure everything's in check, and then just shoot me a report when you're ready, okay? I almost forgot. Someone mentioned to me or sent me a message, said something about a tumbler and you should get one. You can, you know, sort of make a makeshift tumbler using your drill and whatnot and clean some parts. I'm like, oh yeah, I've got a friggin' tumbler, but I haven't really used it for years. So I finally busted it out and put those coin mechanism parts in here. Looks maybe a little bit better. I don't know, I ran for like 6 or 8 hours or something. Looks pretty good. Not expecting a miracle. And probably should run it for like 24 hours to really do it, but I'm going to start using this thing more often. Mark Valuk gave me a bunch of tips today on, where did that come from? On, you know, different mediums and different strategies and some tumbler additive that you can use that really helps. So I thought I'd just throw those parts in there. Oh yeah, I should have. No, I think that's all of them. And just see. But this is gonna be, yeah, I gotta start using this thing, especially for like flipper mechs and pop bumper mechs and metals in general. The ultrasonic cleaner is just not gonna do as good of a job. So yeah, I'll give these a bit of a clean, but yeah, the friggin' tumbler. I should use this darn thing more often. Alright, I think it's time to tear into this motor and gearbox. So, I'll remove these screws and we'll have a look. Alright, I'm getting close to cracking this thing open. Got all this weird couple spacers and this, whatever the heck this is. It was on the bottom, like, I don't even remember where that went. Good thing I took a couple photos, because this is turning out to be quite the little puzzle. So I think this part is ready to come off. Let's see what we get. No, not ready. There's like 3 different length screws, 2 shorties on the front, 2 longers on the back, and these guys might even be the longest of them all. So I gotta keep track of all this. Ooh, okay. And does it matter if it goes like this, this, or this? Probably not. But just in case, let's go like this. Put a line here, and a line here. Then we know we gotta match those up, although I could clean those right off if I'm not paying attention. So, what do we got going on here? Interesting. Well, that is not really what I'm after. I'm after getting into here, but in order to get into here, I need this screw, and I need access to this screw. And I just thought this would pop off when I took out those 4 screws. Apparently that is not the case. So maybe I will have to just take a wrench onto these screws to remove them. It's definitely very sticky though. Okay, good and bad news. I didn't need to take off this thing after all. All I needed to do was go like this. And I started to do that. And this gear fell out. So hopefully I can find where it goes. But here we have the gearbox. Old grease, but I'm assuming someone's been in here at some point in time. But whoa, look at that. It might have been a while. Where do you think this thing goes? Like this? Yeah, that looks like that. Okay, so that's what I'm dealing with. Did this just pop off? Oh, look at that. Sorry, I mean, look at that. And then, is there this little spacer ring that Jim was talking about? Alright, well, gearbox fun. Yay. I was just trying to turn up the volume, not record a video. Alright, here's where I'm at. I reopened the gearbox after recording, and the 3 friggin' gears fell out. So, gonna have to find where they go exactly. And while I was cleaning them, this washer fell off. So, fortunately, by looking closer at the gearbox, there is a little washer there and a washer there, so it must go here. But even the washers are different sizes. So I gotta be very careful how I reassemble this thing. It's a little nervy because this thing comes out and look what I found. We've got some sleeve here. We've got a washer. It's very careful to mind the orientation of everything and not lose them while cleaning them. So that goes like that. That's all cleaned up. And now onto this guy here. And yeah, also this pin moves up and down. I had a couple parts and pieces that I took, where I was examining, and I got scared and I just put it all back together again because there's just so many parts and pieces. I got to make sure I put this back together again the way I found it. Okay, I got all scared for no reason. The washers are the same size. No need to fret on that, but do you want to see all this gunk come clean a little bit? Wow, look at that. Ooh. I should go tell Jamie, hey, look what I pulled out of my ear. I got some serious earwax. So, I just got to find out where all the gears go. But, technically speaking, it's not rocket science. They probably can only go in one way. I did take some photos, a little bit of video. So I think I should be okay. But I think if I can clean this up and put it back together again, that would be a great way to end this video. And I do got to wrap things up because it is yike pin time tomorrow. Alright, I got everything cleaned up. Found another washer. I mean, it's so easy to lose these parts if you're not careful. That guy goes there. Fortunately, I don't think I lost anything. I took my brush and really got in all these gears to try and get rid of any grit and grime. I blew my holes out. Make sure there's no water in there. And now I just gotta super lube these guys and see if I can figure out how to put this back together again. I'm really gonna need to clean my phone after all this. Everything is slimy. Okay, so I think I got this figured out. Got the washers on. I've got everything just gently lubed. And I think this guy goes here. You know how I know that? Because I tried to put this guy here at first and it don't fit. And I did refer to a photo. A still frame from a video. Actually, I didn't really take good photos because everything just kind of fell out on me. And I believe this guy goes here. Catches that gear there on the bottom side. And catches this guy here on the top side. Okay, so that's all happy. And then this guy goes like that. And voila. Isn't that beautiful? It's like a friggin' Timex. So now, one last piece to the equation here. This is probably not something I should be attempting one-handed. Does that look right? That does not look right. Maybe that needs to go underneath. Oh, and that's why when I took everything apart, that fell off. That would make sense. So maybe what I got to do is this first. And now this. And then that should do the whole shebang, except it's too slimy and too firm now to turn that. But let's take a photo of this here. Oops. Uh-oh, everything's falling apart. No. No. Let's make sure. Okay. Let's not screw anything up here. I was going to say, let's take a photo of these sleeves here. I can do that right now. Take a photo like this. So I do have to ask Jim about this collar that he was talking about. I don't know. I don't feel like that is the collar he was talking about. But anyway, these screws are going to possibly get in my way. Let's see. Whose idea was it to go live with that? Look at that. There we go. That is Gearbox lubricated and cleaned out. Nice. Okay, I got the gearbox reassembled. Got all my parts and pieces in the right places, I think. And I, believe it or not, cleaned up this guy. I did a pretty poor job, but it's better than it was. And you know what, these guys, I think they're happy where they were. So we're just going to reuse them. I'm going to screw this guy back onto here, however it goes. And then I'm going to wrap this up. So let's do that. All right, there you have it. That's all put back together again. This is all cleaned and reflowed. I just have to add a capacitor, most likely. I cleaned the bottom of this guy, but he's all ready to go. So that is basically all said and done. On another episode, we'll deal with all this craziness.